Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hi, so my name is Jacqueline Pendleton, and I'm actually based in New Zealand, just outside of Wellington. And I'm actually going to be 61 this month, which I don't know where the time went, but I'm 61 now. I've actually been in the fitness industry for over 37 years now. As well as before that, I was a professional dancer for 8.5 years. So yes, I've been around the world a little bit, and I've travelled quite a bit extensively. But I've been in New Zealand now for it will be 34 years, coming up in April. So it would have been 34 years over here. But I'm originally from the United Kingdom, from the north of England, so the beautiful city of York, which is a very beautiful medieval city. Okay, so I've been in New Zealand for 34 years, and I've got 4 adult children. So this is 20, nearly 28, 26, 24, and nearly 21. So I didn't start having children until I was about 33. So between 33 and 40, I had 4 children. I did actually stay at home with my children, but I was coaching the whole time, just working part-time and keeping my hand in the fitness industry. And then when my daughter turned 5, I actually entered into the fitness industry just because I started getting fitter after I had my children. I did gain 15 kilos in a racing heart rate after having children. So I always laughingly would say to my clients that I had a day off, but I had a day off for like 7 years. And, I decided to sort of get back on track, lost all of that weight, and then was in the fitness industry working with athletes. So triathlon, Ironman and triathlon, and athletes representing New Zealand. And then around about 2016, I started to burn out, and I gained about 15 kilos over time. And a racing heart rate. So I started to go through menopause at that stage, and couldn't really understand why I was gaining weight, because I knew what to do, because I'd sort of already lost the weight from the size 22 back to a normal size 10 to 12. And then I really wasn't getting any answers. I knew somebody in the fitness industry who I'd known, who had mentored me early on, who ran a program called Kaizen Institute of Health in Australia. And he said, well, why don't you come along to a seminar? And when I went there, they said about menopause and how progesterone, estrogen levels drop. And, women can start to gain weight, and it's usually stress related. So I pretty much had to write my program from that. I mean, obviously, I just wanted to wave my magic wand over myself and get a miracle, but that didn't really work. So I had to pretty much write my own program, and I've been doing that for the last 7 years. I have successfully run an in-person business as well. So I've been in business for about 14 years in total. And then before that, doing coaching, doing sports coaching when I was bringing up my children. But because I had a facility that was separate from the house, I could still run my business and be at home with my children, which I feel really, really blessed about. So yeah, so I really, really love what I do. I love empowering women. I just, I've done quite a few talks in the past and talking about different things and just empowering women that, we do tend to have a lot on our plate, looking after our family and things like that, and it is really about putting yourself first. And so this is what I've got to constantly reiterate to myself is I've got to put myself first, and think about myself rather than constantly putting everybody before me, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's pretty much about me. I'm not
Can
sure.
you share some insights into the common stresses that women over 50 face and how they impact their health and their immune conditions?
Okay, so what impacts women when they stress? They don't realize because they sort of keep calm and carry on. They don't realize that stress is actually affecting their body, because that was me, keep calm, carry on. Okay. But normally it's usually symptoms of it. A gas, reflux, aching joints, fatigue, bloating, weight gain, weight loss. So I'm talking about the symptoms, and most people associate that with menopause.
Right.
But the amount of women that I've spoke to, hundreds of women I've worked with, the ones that have actually got stress issues and so their body is not managing stress, they don't, so they're not managing stress, they have the symptoms, and the ones that are going through normal menopause don't seem to have those symptoms.
Right.
So it's all associated with we're aging, we're getting older, we're going through menopause. And so when I sort of work with women in that age group, because that's what I had to learn, it wasn't in my mind. I actually went to an endocrinologist that said to me that it probably was in my mind. Right. So I sort of said, well, by osmosis, I'm telling the scales to put weight on. I'm actually asking the scales to put weight on when it actually was something going on with my metabolism.
Yes. It gets really difficult to shake the weight after a certain age.
Yeah, and the thing is that your metabolism does slow down every 25 years, don't get me wrong. And this is where women who go through menopause tend to avoid strength training when they don't seem to realize that it actually helps even out the hormones. And, there's other factors that come into it with stress, like somebody's DNA, whether they have food sensitivity. So I look at that as well. So I'm not talking about allergies. I'm talking about short-term food sensitivities. And with the autoimmune diseases, and I work a lot with fibromyalgia, lots of different, by default, because I worked with stress on myself and then started working with clients that, I've got an autoimmune disease, or, rheumatoid arthritis. There's so many different ones coming up now. Right. And generally the reason why that happens is the body has just gone further and further into the stress issues. And then it's adapted and it's created an autoimmune response. So, so it could be in their DNA. Lupus is another one. I come across lupus a lot. Fibromyalgia has probably been the most common one. With someone's got aching joints. So when the aching joints, as part of having stress issues, goes too far, they think it's just normal because I've got aching joints because I'm aging. Because it all seems to be put down to aging when they could have an underlying issue. And so when I look at somebody's blood chemistry, that's when I can see what sort of inflammation. So I'm not looking at medical ranges, I'm looking at the functional ranges. So this is where I like to pretty much build it for myself.
So Ultima Health focuses on addressing the root causes of stress and autoimmune diseases, right? Can you explain how your coaching programs tackle these underlying issues, particularly for women?
So first of all, obviously I have to do the pre-screen, because unless I put a microphone down somebody's throat, I can't really see what's going on in their body. So I do quite a big pre-screen, including anything structurally that's going on in regards to, if they've got a hip issue or they've got a shoulder issue, because the internal affects the external. So if
Yes.
somebody's going to see a osteo, physio, chiropractor and they do an adjustment, it's not going to hold if they've got
Yeah.
something else going on there. But first of all, what we do is we tackle it through the nutrition. Okay,
Right.
so to start with, through the nutrition. So what I find is, because women are stressed, they've started to put weight on, they've gone online and they've said eat more, eat less, move more. So therefore,
Yeah.
they're usually starving themselves. So when I
Yes.
get them to start, I start to get them to track what they're eating so we can see, and they start to actually build their own food plan from that, so that then they get off the hamster wheel, you know,
Yes.
and understand that, you know, like with me, you know, it's been a bit of a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, this is your life. You can't go without all the time. It's got to be sustainable. So we
Yeah.
start with, I do a lot around diaphragmatic breathing, so decreasing the stress cognitive behavior.
Right.
Them starting to take responsibility for where they're at and starting to actually prioritize themselves, because you can't look after you. If you can't look after yourself, you can't look after other people.
No, you can't. You
And then we
can't.
start to get into the exercise, and with that, I do a lot around the inner core. So inner core work, which is quite a specialized area. So retraining the inner core stabilizers, which
Right.
helps the gut work better, which helps the blood chemistry work better, and it decreases the stress. You know, so it's a real shift of them taking control.
So, can you discuss the role of mindset in managing stress and autoimmune conditions? How do you help your clients develop a positive, resilient mindset?
I think when it comes to autoimmune diseases, obviously there's lots of different things going on. So that's why
Mm,
it's quite specialized in that way. But it's really just helping them understand and explaining it in a certain way that if you keep going down the same road, you've got to give your body the opportunity to get the
mhm.
brakes off. So
Yeah.
mainly I come across a lot of women who have gained weight, but I've also worked with women who've lost weight the other way. It's gone the other way. It's
Okay.
stress related. It's not necessarily weight gain. The ones that have gained weight usually do something about it. The ones that haven't gained weight don't tend to do anything about it. Okay.
Okay.
So what I do is it's just really about understanding why, you know, why they're feeling like they're feeling, you know. But we
Right.
start to do one or two things and then start implementing them into their life, so then
Yes.
they start to sort of take control of it. So what my job is to fix the body from the inside, and weight loss is a byproduct of it.
Okay. That
But
makes
you've
sense.
got to be, and the biggest struggle I come across is people do want to, da-da, which is what I said. I rubbed my hands together and went, right, I'm going to become a practitioner. I'm going to lose 5 kilos. And it wasn't the case. You know, I had to fix
Mhm.
here down, from the brain down, you know, and change the
So,
mindset. With the mindset, that comes when they start to realize what's going on with their own body,
mm,
start to get more energy, and they start to sleep better because we start to fuel their body, then they
yes.
start to realize they feel better about themselves, they feel more confident, they feel stronger. And so therefore their mindset starts to change.
Okay. Okay. So many women over 40 struggle with dietary challenges.
Hmm.
How do you tailor nutrition plans to meet their individual needs and goals of your clients while addressing the autoimmune issues? What kind of
Well,
foods do you
as I
cut
said,
out?
with autoimmune diseases, you've got to be a bit careful because a lot of people will be on medication already. Okay.
Hmm.
And some of those might not necessarily be able to be reversed. Okay. But,
Right.
you know, you've got to be a bit careful with fibromyalgia, even with exercise, because the recovery period. So it's a bit like a tipping scale.
Yeah.
I'll go through the nutrition. So, you know, you've got the healthy and unhealthy body. So if the cortisol levels are too high, then the repair hormone is going to be low. So you've got to try and tip the scales so then they're on an even footing. So with the
Right.
nutrition, first of all, I get them to diarize what they're eating, because then
Hmm.
it's like, I thought I was eating loads of food, but I'm actually not. You know,
Okay.
it's like having a good relationship with food. There is no bad
Good.
food.
Yes.
All foods are good in the right balance. Okay.
Yeah.
So, And obviously, I've got a nutritionist and a doctor psychologist that work with my program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so we start with that. And so rather than saying, here you are, here is a food plan and follow that food plan, which is not really very flexible if we're women and we've got children or grandchildren or busy professionals.
Yes.
If they build their own food plan, so first of all, starting with the tracking and then working on one meal at once. So starting with breakfast, getting breakfast down pat and saying, okay, I've done breakfast now. Then we start to work on lunch and then we start to work on dinner. So it's really about eating for the rest of your life.
Yes.
So that when you go to a restaurant or you're on holiday, you're not standing outside the coffee shop thinking, oh, what am I going to eat? I don't know what to eat. I'm on a diet. I don't know what to eat. There's no flexibility.
Okay.
And I mean, look, I've had women lose between 5 kilos all the way over 20 kilos.
Wow.
You know, and they've lost the weight and they're like, oh, but I didn't have a food plan. It's like, well, you did because you're building your own food plan.
Uh-huh.
So when you lose the weight, you can sustain it.
Yeah.
But in combination with that, it's making sure that they're having enough nutrition, you know, because you do need to eat properly. Which if someone's got an autoimmune disease, especially fibromyalgia, the need for protein is high.
Yes.
You need to have a balance of all of the foods. And then when they start to eat better and then their energy, so we look at their energy levels as well. I look at the sleep levels. I look at their measurements. I look at everything. I track everything. Because pretty much if you're not assessing, you're pretty much guessing.
Yeah, right? That's true. That is very true. So you specialize in blood chemistry analysis and food sensitivity solutions. How does this play a critical role in regulating stress and inflammation? You know how they say food is medicine. Are there some kinds of foods you should avoid to stop inflation? Can you elaborate on this process so that if there's anybody here who might want to get in touch with you and get some coaching remotely, how would that work? What is the process?
Well, obviously, with the blood chemistry, I'm looking at certain factors, the way that the body, especially the liver, is filtering. Okay. You know, so, but somebody might have developed a food sensitivity. So I don't necessarily, I can see from the blood chemistry, looking at thyroid, blood, you know, bloods, potassium, sodium levels, you know, the metabolism, how it's working, whether the levels are low. So I'm looking at functional ranges, not medical ranges.
Okay.
So I'm looking at levels of you can bounce out of bed and meet your day. Okay. So we're functional ranges are a lot more sensitive. And then what we do is, as we start to decrease the stress, working on the nutrition first, then I start to introduce FODMAPing.
Okay.
So FODMAPing is, do you want me to explain how FODMAPing works?
Please. Yeah.
So FODMAPing is a bit like doing a food sensitivity test. Say, for instance, someone did a food sensitivity test via a blood test or via, so either doing it via a blood test or a hair strand, okay? All right. So basically it would say that, you know, you've got an issue with gluten, you've got an issue with dairy, you've got an issue with this, that, and the other. I actually had a problem with spinach, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm actually certified to read reports for DNA testing with DNA Fit in the UK, which I don't do as part of my program, I've got a really good understanding of issues with foods because I found out I was lactose intolerant. So I can eat ice cream and things like that and gain 5 or 6 kilos. So what you're eating might be making you fat without you realizing.
Right.
But it's a short-term thing. So FODMAPing, so high FODMAP foods would be commonly gluten, dairy, lactose, cruciferous vegetables, and certain fruits and vegetables. And then you've got low FODMAP foods would be lactose-free milk, lactose-free cheese, and certain fruits and vegetables. So it's almost like acidic and alkaline. So, you know, if you ever go on holiday and you wash your hair and it's hard water or soft water, it can make it greasy or dry. So it changes the pH balance of the gut. So someone can take probiotics or prebiotics, but if the gut's not working well, and generally with autoimmune diseases, they usually have a gut issues as well. So what happens is what's called the mucosal barrier from the head down to the feet. It actually gets broken. So that's what protects your body, your immune system. Okay. What happens is the food passes into the bloodstream and your immune system attacks it. And you end up with a food sensitivity. So
Right.
the idea with the FOD mapping is we only remove 1 or 2 foods, and we do it really slowly.
Right.
Because your body can see it as a stressor, because your body can't differentiate between emotional, physical, and dietary. It just sees it as one.
Right.
So this is where we do it really gradually, so that then the body can say, I'm okay now, I can come out. If you do it
Yes.
too quickly, it'll be like, it'll have a bit of a hissy fit, right?
Then your metabolism slows down then, right?
Well, in your body, so commonly what I see, that people don't eat enough food. And so then what happens is that everything you stick in your mouth, your body's going to store. So it wants to protect the engine, and this also goes back to somebody's genealogy of whether they fight or flight or
Yes.
rest and digest, and the way you metabolize food. It's so complex. And that's why you've got to look at everybody as an individual and
Yeah.
then individualize what is going on with their body. And then we track how their body's responding. Does it like it? Doesn't it like it?
Okay.
But you've got to be extremely careful, especially with autoimmune diseases. Do not do it too quickly, because your body might have a hissy fit.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Now, exercise is a key component of your coaching programs. How do you design exercise routines that are suitable for women over 40 with autoimmune issues? And what are some of the general guidelines for this demographic?
So generally what I find is as people get into their 40s and 50s, they generally tend not to like to go to the gym, right?
Yeah.
So they're usually going out and walking or swimming, okay? But they're not doing any strength training because they're worried about doing strength training because they think they're going to bulk up, okay?
Right.
So what I generally tend to do is I do the inner core work, so a bit like a chassis of a car, the inner core, like a non-surgical corset, if you like.
Yes.
Okay. And then so basically I do that through diaphragmatic breathing and then some exercises around inner core. So what we do is I start to get them to do those exercises first. Okay. So we do them solely on their own because you're retraining from the brain to the muscle.
Yes.
Especially if somebody's had children or C-sections, because generally secondary to childbirth or pain, those core muscles would have switched off. Okay.
Right.
All right. And then what we do is then I get them to do what they're already doing, like walking or swimming or whatever. Then I start to get them into a strength training program, generally using a Swiss ball, because Swiss ball, what it does is it challenges the status quo of mobility.
Right.
So it's not really about lifting a whole load of heavy weights.
Yes.
So what we do is we get the body to be a really strong column, and then we can load on that strong column from the inside out. Okay. So with the exercise, it's really about strengthening that inner core and getting it really strong.
Yes.
And then you implement it into movement.
Okay. So can you provide some insights into the connection between hormonal changes and autoimmune diseases in women over 40 and how your coaching addresses these aspects?
I think the thing is that all of the people that I've worked with stress, they might have had some form of even child abuse going on or some form of toxic thing going on, even sexual abuse in the past.
Right.
And your body was just putting that away and putting that away and putting that away. And then when they came to menopause, it created an imbalance and the body was just waiting in the wings. And
yes,
bang.
then everything comes out at that age. So your mission is to...
I was going to say, you've also got to understand with autoimmune diseases that it's usually the ones, especially with the ones with fibromyalgia and the other ones, it's usually an event that happens. So it could have been a car accident. It could have been a death in the family.
Yes.
And they already had underlying issues going on in the background. So it's usually when they hit menopause, it creates an imbalance. And the first thing they do is eat less and move more. And then their body's like, I'm under stress, I'm under stress, I'm under stress, I'm under stress. Yeah. So it's really about empowering them that that's not the right way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So your mission is to empower women to overcome their challenges and gain confidence.
Yeah.
What advice or tips can you offer women over 40 who are just starting their journey towards a better health and managing stress and autoimmune conditions?
I think the thing is that you've got to really start to look at how you feel every time you do something.
Right,
So I've gone out for a walk. How do I feel? Do I feel sore? Doing more is the height of insanity. It's about
right.
quality, not quantity, when it comes to exercise. So your
Yes,
body adapts at rest, not when you're doing more. If you've got an autoimmune disease where it's actually neuromuscular, it is really about recovering. So doing a little bit and then making sure that you're recovering. If you're
yes,
starting on your journey now, it's really just doing one or two things and cementing those things on a daily basis. And,
right.
if things happen, you know, one day everything doesn't go well, don't worry about it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's
I
about
love
really enjoying your life, because last thing you want to do is, have that gin and tonic and a piece of chocolate and say, get run over by a bus and say, should have done that. It's really about having a balance and
Yes,
understanding it's a journey, it's not a destination, and you need to enjoy that journey.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
is really about listening to yourself and
Hmm.
your own body.
Your body tells you what it needs. So, if I could take you back to have a conversation with the younger you, the young woman who was struggling with weight issues, stress, if you could go back and give yourself three nuggets of wisdom, three pieces of advice based on what life has taught you, what would those three nuggets of wisdom be?
I think it would be to listen to my own advice and not just scroll social media,
Yes.
because I think generally we know what will work for ourselves. I
Yeah.
obviously just offer that accountability. Maybe making sure that I'm putting myself first rather than putting everybody else first.
Yes.
And just understanding what I've realized over time is it is a journey.
Yeah.
What we could do when we were younger, we won't be able necessarily be able to do when we were younger. We could do lots, we could climb mountains. But
Yeah.
saying that, I mean, I'm sure you've seen what I do. I'm pretty good at trampolining and gymnastics and things like that. But I've
Yeah.
got myself fit and healthy, so my body in a position so I can actually do things I enjoy. So I'd say
That's,
just enjoy your life, and so long as you're moving in the right direction, that's the key.
that's the main thing. So, my final question now is I'm going to have a little thought experiment with you and teleport you into the future. If we could go into the future and you could have a conversation with the 90-year-old you, and you're sitting in your rocking chair surrounded by your children, your dogs, your cats, whoever's with you at that time, based on what life has taught you, if you could have a conversation with this wise woman who's led you to that point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her?
Make sure that you work on your mobility and don't wait till it's too late,
Yeah.
because really being healthy and fit is so you can make it around the supermarket and get off the couch. This is a
Yes.
mobility thing, not a weight thing.
Yeah.
And enjoy your life. Make the most of your life and enjoy your life to the full.
Yes.
That would be the main things. But one of the things I would say, if I was sitting there at 90, to be able to have a fulfilling life, you need to make sure that you're working on those things, which is making sure that you're getting fit and healthy so that then you can enjoy your life to the full, and don't leave it until it becomes where you can't even, get when
Enjoy.
things start to become hard. That's when your body is saying, hello, I'm actually talking to you. Listen to what I'm saying.
Yes. Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming online today and sharing this amazing nuggets of wisdom with us. This is truly a challenging time when you go over 50. For most women, we all struggle with weight issues, hormonal changes. Absolutely amazing that you're there and able to support all these women as they go through the changes of life. So, how can people get hold of you? How do people work with you?
So normally, I mean, they can reach out to me on social media, obviously, with the links. Mainly, that's where I am, or they can send me an email.
Fantastic. And do you have a website?
I don't have a website at the moment, just because of the fact that I do more around social media and outreach that way.
Yes. Okay.
So no, I don't have a website, but they can either reach out to me via email or through my social media.
Fantastic. Jackie, thank you so much. It was an absolute honor doing this interview with you today. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is bringing you women who are talking about all aspects of our lives, health and wellness being a very, very major part of it. So ladies, preempt the aging process. Start working on some of these core issues that Jackie has highlighted today. Don't wait until you can't move and you're struggling with your mobility. We can do so much to have a healthy, vibrant life when we retire. Thanks
I
again.
just wanted to add one more thing to that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know whether people are familiar with chronologically aging, but
Yes.
I did a test on myself, and chronologically, internally, I'm more at the age of 29, not 60.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Good.
So you've got it, you chronologically can be younger. So you're not going to be able to stop aging on the outside, but you
Yeah.
are at least going to slow it down, right?
Fantastic. Thank you, Jackie. I'll be
That's
back
all.
again tomorrow, everybody, when I interview yet another amazing guest. Stay healthy. Tune in again tomorrow. Bye for now, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.